Class and guests, you may be seated. I'm the Director of Institutional Advancement for Gogebic, and I'll be serving as your Master of Ceremonies this afternoon. To begin the program, I'd like at this time to introduce the Reverend Gary Grable, who has served as chaplain to the inmates of the Gogebic County Jail for several years. Reverend Grable will offer the invocation. Before we open with prayer, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you. First of all, you have chosen a field of work that will have many adversities, but you will also find great reward in helping others and receive satisfaction in your service to individuals and the community. Though you have worked hard in preparing yourself, you will now be recognized today for your achievement. I want to exhort you with the Word of God. Man appoints, but God has chosen. Let me read from Romans chapter 13, 1 through 7, and I hope these words will give you strength and assurance in the days ahead. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists the ordinances of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. Therefore, you must be subject, not only because of the wrath, but also for conscience sake. For because of this, an institution committed to meeting community education and training needs. And on that end, I'd like to recognize an individual who was very instrumental in bringing the program to Gogebic, who was very supportive of the efforts, Dr. John Anderson, the Dean of Instruction at Gogebic. At this time in the program, I would like to introduce Dr. James Grody, the President of Gogebic Community College, who will make a few remarks.
To have been able to work with the Department of Corrections and the other agencies in bringing the Basic Corrections Academy to Gogebic Community College in Ironwood, Michigan. When I look at the graduates of the First Corrections Academy, I see individuals that did establish a goal and throughout the course of training persevered in striving to attain that goal. And our ceremonies here today are an acknowledgement of your perseverance and successful completion of the program. I think you should be commended for that. Secondly, however, I would extend a challenge to you. We live in an ever-changing society, a society that is changing very rapidly. So even though today and today is a very significant milestone for you, you're learning and interested in, simply because of some of our efforts to give some thought to the institutionalization of a associate degree program in law enforcement. We certainly feel that there is a need for an associate. And on behalf of the college, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Brody. As I've indicated earlier, the Academy would not have been possible without the support of the local law enforcement and corrections agencies. At this time, the Sheriff of Gogebic County, Mr. Donald Pezzetti, representing the local agencies, has a few remarks he would like to make.
True. Look at this. How'd you like to be a drunk coming in and be booked by this bunch here? A lot of beef, a lot of beef. I again would like to congratulate the class, and especially my two men here I'm very proud of that serve with me. Mr. Soderman and I have worked together since about 1970, which is a very long time in the corrections game. And I did some research recently on October 19th. You're all well aware that the stock market dropped by over 500 points. Well, there's been a lot of speculation as to what could have caused it. I did some investigation and found out that that day, Albert Soderman reported his wallet being lost somewhere in Gogebic County. With that amount of cash gone from the center market, there was no doubt what was going to happen. Dave Barbacovi right there, he's got a story that I haven't quite got the whole picture yet about his nose. If you look real close, there is a section that has been changed since our last meeting. I don't know if this happened locally. It must have been in the Aikido class, right? Looking back at my experiences as sheriff and as a deputy and as undersheriff, I relate back to 1970 when the Gogebic County Sheriff's Department consisted of 6 men. That included the sheriff and undersheriff and 4 deputies. That meant that the average night desk shift in Gogebic County comprised of 16 hours on duty. A portion of that was done in a folding cot in the back room of the jail, believe it or not. That's when corrections did not have the tight restraints we have now. Inmate care was a lot less than what it is now. And I believe we had a different breed of inmates. I think anybody in this group who works with inmates today finds that the younger set is a much more difficult crew to work with than we had 15 or 20 years ago. And I'm happy to say that the State of Michigan Department of Corrections has come forward and put in place standards that we have to live by. It's a benefit to us as professionals. It's certainly a benefit to the inmates and inmate care. I think one of the big problems facing corrections today, and by the way, I consider it the most difficult part of the sheriff's job is corrections, is what we run into with the attorneys, with the lawsuits. As an example, a few years ago, we were directed to put shower tape in our showers in the cell block. Never had any big problem prior to that day. The day after we put the tape down, I think 6 guys fell down in the back. They were like bowling pins. Two lawsuits resulted, and these are the kind of things that we're faced with today. Not only that, the jails are no longer a dumping ground for the mentally ill, as an example. We finally have legislation on the books now that it is illegal to house mentally ill people, although we still get some in a protective custody situation. One more story about Mr. Soderman. Luckily, during your training, you did not have to work with mace, am I correct? Spray cans? I'll read a story. I came in on Day Road one morning. This is 5:30 in the morning, and I heard a lot of ruckus in the back, and there was an inmate back there who was giving everybody a lot of problems. So Mr. Soderman says, I think we better move him to what then was called the incorrigible cell. I said, okay, not half awake yet, of course. Went back there, the man was pretty good size, so we wrestled him from his cell to the incorrigible, and he got to the door, and the man put his hands up on the side of the door, and Eggy drew the mace and shot the sheriff between the eyes with it. So being totally blind at that point in time and wrestling with a much stronger man, we finally, I think both of us ended up in there. I think he locked us both up, if I'm not mistaken. I thank you for the invitation today. I'm very proud of all of you, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Pezzetti. At this time on the program, we have Mr. Dale Suter. Mr. Suter is from the Michigan Department of Corrections and is responsible for the local jail services. Dale?
Thank you. One of the tasks that I have to do is I have to thank a number of people, because without their original thinking and consultations, this program wouldn't have happened up here in Gogebic County or in this part of the state. I'll begin with Terry Sherman. I had not heard prior to coming up here for an extended stay. They taught me a few things about local corrections and law enforcement I didn't know existed, but I found it to be an interesting group of people. And something we've recently instituted in local jail training is special awards that aren't part of the 160-hour completion program, but these are awards that the instructors identify to recognize people that complete the program that have shown themselves to be outstanding in certain areas. The awards include the most improved trainee, and that's the individual identified by all the instructor staff as having identified themselves as advancing academically, physically, and professionally, those three areas over the course of a 4-week program. The next award is academic excellence, and that's the individual that achieves the highest overall academic standing with the module testing. Keto, best key spirit, and that's the individual, and this is interesting because we've got two for this program. The instructors identified two people as being co-equal, and that's the people that both identify as being most outstanding Aikido participants, and that's 40 hours of what could be some pretty interesting gyrations physically. All right, fellas? Participation throughout 4 weeks. And obviously it's not easy to select people for these awards. We'll begin with the most improved, and that individual is Vanessa A. Kuzak. Would you come up here, please? Hey, congratulations. There are possible 600 percentile points in the academic portion of this program, and this individual achieved 564 of those points with an overall academic average of 94%. And for his academic excellence, we would like to recognize Deputy Robert Topol from Montonacan County. Would you come under, please? For Aikido, best key spirit, and this is funny, because I only had a certain amount of special achievement certificates, and the lady that's been very helpful in typing these wasn't around, so I typed them myself, and I was just dreading making a mistake, and I did it. I misspelled spirit, but I managed to correct it, and so when you get these home, if you want a new one, just give me a call down Lansing, and it'll be just like the checks that I've sent you. It'll be in the mail. I'm going to ask the Chief of Ironwood Public Safety to come up and accept the first one for Thomas D. Inchenzo. Did I finally get it right? Who is recognized as one of the best for Aikido. Would you please do it? Thank you, sir. One of your classmates that's present that received the other certificate, this is the first time that I've experienced a tie, from Montonacan County, Robert C. Paul. Gerald J. Kitzman, Sheriff of Bryan County. And I'd like to thank all of you for giving me an opportunity to do some pretty interesting backcountry skiing, and have some fun. Thanks.
Thank you, Dale. At this time, to present the class and to present the certificates, I'd like to call upon the instructor present, Mr. Mike Rucker.
Stand up in front of the class and do a presentation like this, so I'm a little bit awkward at it. Please bear with. My partner is less adept to this than I am. He's already fled town. On his way south, unfortunately, he's had an illness in the family for about the last day or so, so he's been hanging by a thread and came through, and he's on his way south. I think it's great that Gogebic County and Gogebic Community College has sponsored this program. Fortunately, several years ago, the Sheriff of Washtenaw County, of which I'm an employee, found it probably in the best interest of that department that I go on the road and teach. I really don't know why, but they did. Thanks to people such as Terry Sherman, Dale Suter, and other members of the Department of Corrections, they've made this program really roll. When I first came up here, a lot of members of this class thought that I was probably from the inner city area. But to give you a little bit of a background, when I started in police work in 1968 on December 26th, I walked into the Livingston County Sheriff Department where I was employed for 11 years. And there was 3 inmates in the jail at that time. They had a total population of 21. The 3 that were in there were all trustees. So I come from a background of knowing what small departments are really like. I am a little bit upset at you, Dale, though. I want you to understand this because I've only had the opportunity to come up here 2 out of the 4 weeks. Okay? From now on, I want to be included in the 4 weeks, and I am with you.
There's a story to that. We'll wait till
We'll let you know on an individual basis later on if you want to know what that was. They've been most helpful to us. I'd like to thank my Sheriff, Ron Scheibel, who's made it possible for me to be involved in this, along with the members of the Department of Corrections who I've mentioned. And I also speak on behalf of my co-partner in teaching, Deputy Gary Chick from Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department. Gary Chick and I are kind of an unusual team as far as our concept. We are what we classify as a team teaching concept. Gary and I are very close. We're almost like brothers in a way, except Gary spends a lot of time sailing in the summer. He's considerably darker than I am. But Gary and I are very close, and we found that our teaching methods has worked very well as far as the classroom is concerned, and we hope that we've done the best job that we could to our ability. These are some real fine officers that you have here, and we hope that between the knowledge that we have from the material that we had to present, plus some of the kind of different type of background that I've had over the years in narcotics and several other things, that I've been able to relate situations to help your officers do their job and perform better. We've given them the tools. Now it's their job to implement them into their jobs. I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you very much, and I certainly hope I come back. Thank you.
This time, will the graduating class please rise? Joseph Kerr, Primary Public Safety for Keto certification.
Thanks.
Deputy Theodore Woodez.
You bet.
Deputy Vanessa Kuzak. For John Sorich, Gogebic Community College.
John, see you in a week or so, eh?
Deputy David Barbacovi, Gogebic County Sheriff's Department.
Goodbye and good luck.
Deputy Albert Soderman,
I agree. Yeah, you take care. Okay.
Vermont and Ottawa County Deputy Edward Mellon.
He's going to get you.
Deputy Thomas Keeble.
Take care, okay? Let's get
Sheriff Gerald Kitzman.
here.
Deputy Michael Livingston.
Mike, nice job. You bet.
Deputy Mark Mackey. Deputy Robert Cooper.
Yeah.
Look at that classroom.
Good afternoon. As you probably noticed, I've been hanging on my speech with dear life, for dear life. I wrote this last night. I'm going to practice something that I was taught a long time ago when I was a very green politician. This was given to me by Rusty Hellman. He said, what you do is you stand up so you can be seen, you speak loud so you can be heard, and you have a short speech, and sit down so you can be appreciated. That's what I have. First, we'd like to acknowledge the instructors of our course, our fellow Sheriff Donald Pezzetti, Gogebic Community College faculty, and Reverend Garbo. First thing I want to do is tell our graduating class that I feel honored to be your spokesman today. Needless to say, I had reservations about being the only sheriff in your class. I didn't know if I was going to be accepted as a fellow workman, okay? But I'm here to tell you now that I'm very well satisfied. I'm grateful to be your spokesman. And I'm proud. Firm but fair with myself and my classmates. Your instructions were always clear, but when you were not, your patience with us was terrific. Your instructions have shown us the importance of the training class, and we now have gathered a wealth of information from you for these past 4 weeks, and we intend to put it to good use in the near future. To the sheriff present, I want him to know that his deputies represent his department with style. And I believe that in utilizing the information from the classroom instructions, that they will be an asset to your department and to the people of your county, and can only enhance the security of your department. To the staff of Gogebic Community College, we would like to say that it's been a good 4 weeks. Your students have treated us with respect and friendliness, and they are to be commended. We have enjoyed a very adequately and well-run facility. In closing, we, this graduation class, take pride and pleasure in being the first graduation class from Gogebic Community College for the class of the Basic Corrections Academy. And we ask that you continue to host the training academy so that many officers that still need the valuable training will also have the opportunity to receive the wealth of information that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Kitzman. We bring the program to a close this afternoon. Reverend Grable with the benediction.
Closing this afternoon, Mr. Jensen from the Gideons will be presenting to each graduate this afternoon a small pocket Bible. And I hope that you carry that with you and use it as directed by the Lord or whenever the time might present itself. At this time, let's close in prayer. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and coming in, from this time forth and evermore. Amen.
you, Reverend Grable, and thank you, everyone, for attending the ceremony this afternoon. We ask you now at this time to join us for coffee. The ceremony is over. Good afternoon. Members of the class, we're trying to get a group picture taken out the hall. Members of the class, please form in the hallway.
Stand up on there.
Help them get that loving feeling. They'll get together. Some of us weren't there. I wasn't.
Kuzno, he's going to bring home. Okay, I'll mail it to you.
Patience and perseverance. What you need for any patience, if you have any money,
No, I was always, I got a lot of work now.
I thought base was
We'll talk.
Sweat beads are bringing out the It's classified as the meat is on.
We were the best singers in the bar. You almost got a job at Caribou. Yeah. $18.50 a night.
Ooh, that's a book. That's tough place to work. Yeah, it doesn't go left very well.
Just make it a little thin.